A Christian school shooting leaves 6 dead, that is 3 children and 3 adults. And yet, excuse me, still shaking a little bit of that cold. A Nashville Christian school shooting leaves 3 children and 3 adults dead, and yet this story is probably going to disappear out of the news and mysteriously will likely not get into every town USA's statistics, so we'll be talking about that, what that means, what's happening going forward to this, and what people are trying to say about this. In other news, Russia wants to put nuclear weapons in Belarus for reasons that are unknown to the US, and yet our mainstream media friends at CNN seem to think that they know why we are coming out and putting these in there. The Mises Caucus calls out a Republican and Democrat bill to ban TikTok in the US because of the underlying and overlying causes that it will have on the rest of social media, including social media that we use here on this channel. And Biden's FAA nominee withdraws amid shaky Senate support, and then Ted Cruz comes in to brag about the fact that he was the one that killed the nomination. It is going to be all this and more. I was the one flying the balloons. I am Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. There were over 60 tabs up on the top of the screen when I started. I actually cut a bunch out of here because there was just no way we're going to get to it. Like, the Trump Waco rally over the weekend, there's no way. I can't. With everything else that happened over... And some of this actually might be by design, by the way, too. Obviously, I don't know that the government maybe went out and paid a transgender person to go shoot up a Christian school. Oops. Did I give away the spoilers? There's no way of knowing what happened over here at this school and what was going on there, but I mean, we've got massive tornadoes in Mississippi. We've got some mobilization on the Ukrainian front, which is not good news for anybody else. There are even some natural disasters in both Philadelphia and elsewhere in Pennsylvania as well. So there's a lot to go on, but yeah, I couldn't even do the Trump rally today. I wanted to. I had stuff up from the Waco rally, because I thought it was an interesting juxtaposition of where people were killed for being against the government, no matter how evil they were and doing other things. And now we have the Donald, who is also possibly being persecuted by the government. But we're going to get into it. Maybe we might actually go 3 hours tonight just to get it all done, because there's so much here. And I do have, by the way, a funeral on Thursday, but it's early on in the day. I don't think I'm going to miss a show, especially being this close now to my family. I don't think I'm going to miss the show on Thursday night, but I don't want to have a bunch of stuff sitting out here recycled for Thursday night either. So we'll see what happens with this, but regardless, and by the way, we will have live chat at the end of the show. No matter when the end of the show is, we will have live chat at the end of the show tonight over here on Contemporary. Before we get started, make sure you guys go check out great programming such as the Daily Ignoramus, the Breakdown with Birkenhoff, the R-Rated Conservative, who will be coming back in just a few days, the Porch Boys, Tweets by Brit, Mr. Behavior, the No Gimmicks Podcast, and more. as we bring you a better news experience and a culture experience from the common man for the common man. That is right. For too long, too many of us have got our news, our culture, and our politics, and religion, music, and etc. from people who wear suits that cost more than our houses. No more. There are better places to get your news, your culture, your politics from, so go check out all that great programming. It's going to be a great time, and I'm not going to filibuster anymore because we've got to get right down into it, onto the news, and we will start briefly. I will keep it short today on the finance, because I've got other finance articles to go over here today as well. So let's get started with the Dow. Dow is sitting at 432.08 today after having a slight up day, up less than 1% on the day, up 194.55. Man, it just can't really crack into those record numbers anymore. Like, we were at almost 37,000 at one point last year, but it's been so long ago at this point that it's fallen out of the 52-week high, and that's down to 35,000 for the year high. But I mean, where have we stayed? Pretty much this entire year, with between 30 and 33, with a couple little peaks above 34, but nothing really to write home about here. So we'll see. I mean, it's stagnating and it's holding steady, and we'll see what happens with it and where it goes. Looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin actually had a major drop off today. Your Bitcoin is at 27,115.10. That is down on the day $880 and 10 US cents, or 3.14%. Bringing it out over the 5 days so we can see what happened over the weekend. It looks like it stayed kind of steady on a steady climb before dropping off about mid-trading day today. So you lost a little bit on your Bitcoin, especially on the 5 day. You're even down $208 and 90 US cents, or 0.75% on the 5 day. But take heart. I mean, it's still not like you're not getting to the point of it's on sale at 16,000 anymore. Looking in at your gas prices around the Madison area on the day, we are at $3.15 going into the Isthmus, $3.14 on the Isthmus. Looking out at some of the west side here, not a lot of prices are listed right now. I mean, they're showing the stations, but not a lot of prices are caught up. We've got $3.26 on the southwest side of the Speedway. Looking out to the east side, $3.09. Leaving Madison on the north side at the BP, $3.16 at the Quick Trip over on the east side. Going out on the southwest, we have got the BP is not listed here today, so few people are not on here. The Quick Trip on the southwest side or southeast side is also at $3.10. So a mixed bag and a little bit of relief on your gas prices there. Let's grab one from CNBC, and then we'll look at the layoffs report, and then we have got to get right down into the news. We've got so much to go over. From CNBC, Dow closes nearly 200 points higher. S&P notches the third straight advance as bank shares jump. From Tanaya McKeel and Alex Herring. Oof, 41%. Hey, well, it's YouTube. They already tried to suspend me once over an episode with John from 2 years ago, and we prevailed. The Dow Industrial Average rose Monday, building on last week's gains as investors attempted to move on from the crisis that broke out in the regional bank sector earlier this month following the collapse of SVB. Blue chip stock index gained 194.55 points, or 0.6 at the end of 432.08. The S&P was up 0.2 to 3977.53. The Nasdaq finished lower by half at 11,768.84. Regional banks rose broadly. The SPDR S&P Regional Banking ETF rose about 0.9% after climbing more than 3% earlier in the day. First Republic surged at 11.8%. PacWest also gained 3.4%. Market sentiment is improving as policymakers take steps to alleviate the recent challenges, said Brian Levitt, a global market strategist at Invesco QQQ Trust. An extension of the liquidity facility that had been set up by the Federal Reserve meaningfully eases prior concerns that a series of bank runs could be in the offing. You just wait. And by the way, we have had enough news right now to distract from the saga of will they arrest him or won't they arrest him? And, well, my question here is, I remind everybody what I tweeted out when we were in the midst of the saga, and that is the fact that, just to remind you, a bank run is a peaceful protest. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying. And I know that Might Be Wrong came out when I tweeted out the first time and says, they probably won't miss my little bit of money. Well, yeah, but if 73 million of us do it at the same time, they'll miss that much money. But I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to say that would be a peaceful protest. Alright, and on the layoffs report, Disney begins laying off 7,000 employees. CEO Bob Iger announces from John Pasentino. Disney CEO Bob Iger on Monday said his company will begin laying off staff starting this week, the first of 3 rounds of expected cuts following his announcement in February that the company would axe 7,000 jobs. The cuts to Disney's global workforce are part of the multi-billion-dollar cost-cutting initiative aimed at streamlining the company's operations in a period of media industrial turmoil. In a memo to staff obtained by CNN, Iger said the layoffs would come in 3 waves. The first round will begin this week, and I kind of hope that it's everybody who tried to do the don't say gay thing, but I don't think Iger is that stupid. As much as I think that would be great for the company, that would be terrible for optics. You know that the left-wing mob that has the mainstream media in their back pocket would take that and run and scream with it. Let's see. Managers will soon start to notify affected employees. A second larger round of layoffs will take place in April, with several thousand staffers let go. A third round of layoffs will then occur before the beginning of the summer to reach the company's planned goal of eliminating 7,000 jobs. But don't worry. This is fine. Everything is fine. In fact, you don't have to worry about the fact that Disney's laying people off. Just go in and believe the president when he says everything is doing great. So, more layoffs coming. That's what we have for that. We are going to get into the main news of the day. We are going to start because of our fellow Ed, which I don't know if he's here or not. Arbold, say hi if you're here. And if not, those of you on Twitter, those of you in the Discord, make sure you go and at Arbold and make sure that he's okay. Because I actually don't know where, so I can't say where, but I know that he is somewhere down in the great state of Mississippi. And in the great state of Mississippi, they had some pretty nasty weather. So we're going to start with weather.com, where you can watch as a tornado hits an armory in Mississippi High School. Let's watch.
Wow, the powerful tornado ripped apart part of the building's roof while decimating the high school's athletic facilities.
Look at that. Before. After. Man.
I don't even have a clue the time frame, but I do know within a minute of us getting in that cooler, the building was domed.
Tracy
And
Harden
thank God for
and
the
several
cooler still
others
standing too, by
survived
the way.
Friday's devastating tornado in Mississippi by hiding in a restaurant cooler. This is what...
Now, and of course, we've lost 26 people as of this, but I mean, still, praise Jesus. Thank the Lord that it was only 26. Because this, from what what we're looking at, just in the still that we have here, this could have been much, much, much worse. The tornado, of course, being in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, and the surrounding area, so we'll be talking just a bit more about that. Let's grab one from Axios. In photos, Mississippi town destroyed by deadly tornado from Sri Ravapati. Dozens of people were killed and homes were destroyed as tornado spiraled through parts of Mississippi and Alabama on Friday night. Should probably go check. Well, no, I've been talking back and forth with Amlam and Super Crispy earlier today, and yeah, they appear to be good. So, in fact, Crispy didn't even comment on the tornadoes in any avenue that I've talked to her in. She commented on a horrifying video that I posted to my Instagram story earlier where a tire fell off a jacked up truck right in front of a little Nissan number going 70 miles an hour and launched the thing. Anyway. More tornadoes are expected to hit Mississippi, Alabama, and other southern states Sunday. So this is prior to that. Axios' Andrew Friedman reports. In Mississippi, the rural towns of Silver City and Rolling Fork in the southwest and Amory in the northeast all sustained significant tornado damage on Friday. The National Weather Service preliminary damage survey found the tornadoes that struck Rolling Fork and Silver City were about 3/4 of a mile wide and lasted for over an hour. It was given a rating of EF4, the second highest. In Amory, businesses and infrastructure were significantly damaged or destroyed. Yeah, there wasn't a lot left. There's your before. There's your after. By the way, those of you watching on Instagram, you can't see the maps that we're watching here, but hit that link in the description and come and join us on the YouTube, because we're live there too. There is your before, and there is your after. There's nothing left there. There's your before. That is horrifying. That's your after. Look at that. Like, you can't even recognize this section over here anymore. And that building right there that used to be right there, or that building right there that used to be right there, man. Thank you, Arvold, for the safety check. Again, as I said earlier, I don't know where in Mississippi you are. I hope you're far, far away from this. There's your backhoes coming in to start cleaning up. Look at that dump trailer. Just kind of hanging out there. God, I hope there wasn't anything gross in that one, because that's going to make this all the worse. I hope that was empty, because I know they like to use that kind of trailer, especially that's aluminum, that's food grade, to transport discarded animal bones from meat processing plants. Look at it all. That shack is, pretty sure this side is supposed to be on the bottom. Free stuff. Yeah, they need it. They really do. Thank you, Axios, for that. From ABC 13 Eyewitness News, Houston rapper and activist Trey the Truth head to Mississippi to aid victims of a deadly tornado. Some private charity coming in to help out. Houston rapper and philanthropist Trey the Truth went to Mississippi to help those impacted by the deadly and devastating outbreak of powerful storms and tornadoes over the weekend. At least 27 tornadoes were reported across 5 states: Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. Officials said at least 22 people died in Mississippi, where one long-track twister left a trail of destructions for about 59 miles. The severe tornado that tore through Rolling Fork, Mississippi, late Friday was assigned a rating of EF4, classification that marks it as a rare and powerful storm. Trey uploaded pictures of him helping Rolling Fork to his Facebook, showing the devastating damage around him. Yeah, it's bad. Mississippi was hit hard, to the point, Rolling Fork. Homes can't be rebuilt unless it's from scratch, he wrote in the post. And some of them are going to have to go through that. The aid is said to be part of his relief gang organization that helps those in need. Trey also visited Mississippi last year to deliver clean drinking water to Jackson when its water system went out for days. So that is what we have going there. Some more video. Drone footage shows pure destruction in Mississippi. Let's watch.
All right, joining us on the phone right now, Zachary Hall. He's a professional storm chaser who was able to view the destruction in Mississippi firsthand. Zachary, you're in Rolling Fork right now. Describe what you're seeing.
I'm looking at pure destruction. Vehicles tossed, trees completely debarked. I'm actually staring right at an American flag in the middle of, I'm not sure what this used to be. It's complete rubble now, but it's just apocalyptic, I guess is the best way to describe what I'm seeing.
And when, I guess as you traverse the area, the people that you're seeing, are these mostly first responders, or are you seeing people who, are emerging from rubble, who survived this, who are assessing their losses? What are you seeing in terms of human life?
Well, most of the response here is local, local first responders, locals, family members here to help. We were actually here last night and observed the tornado come into town, and we were the first on scene. So we observed the emergence from the rubble and that sort of thing last night. I know that there are still some people who are not accounted for, unfortunately. But right now, a lot of it is just trying to help people clean up, get things out of their home that they need. Like I said earlier, there's vehicles on top of homes, things tossed miles. It's just it's crazy.
And we're looking at what appears to be drone footage right now, and you're right, it is just apocalyptic. It looks unbelievable, the amount of debris that all seems to be pushed into one another, and then you can see, on the horizon what looked like there were tall trees, a lot of broken, mangled trees. Had you been to this community before, this area, to know what it looked like before this?
I drove through Rolling Fork, Mississippi last night about 2 minutes before the tornado hit.
Wow.
We have a
That's
vehicle
scary.
Wrapped in tornado graphics and all
2 minutes
sorts of
before
things.
it
We were
hit?
honking our horn, trying to get people. There was no sirens going off in the town. I remember seeing a Mexican restaurant, I believe. There was like a Family Dollar, a small gas station, and that's what I remember. But I can tell you right now, I don't see any of those things right now.
Walking.
All right, so that is the video of that. Of course, people don't lose the ability to go back and take stuff like this to their advantage here. From Fox News, Mississippi governor's tornado damage tour crashed by Democrat opponent. He should be better than this. From Houston Keene. The Democrat candidate for Mississippi governor crashed Tate Reeves' tour of tornado damage to campaign after storms ravaged the state and killed at least 25 people. Reeves, alongside of other invited officials that included federal lawmakers and Biden admin officials, traveled to Rolling Fork to survey the damage caused by the deadly tornado last week. Brandon Presley and his campaign staff also traveled to Rolling Fork outside his official constituency as Northern District Commissioner, where his campaign staff took pictures of him and posted them to his official Twitter account. This morning, we toured the Rolling Fork alongside Benny Thompson and Alejandro Mayorkas, Presley wrote in his campaign Twitter account. The devastation here is beyond belief, but the resolve and toughness of citizens of this town is even stronger, he continued. # Mississippi Strong. According to a person who was on the scene as part of the state's official response, Presley was not invited to survey by the official organizers. Local officials who were part of the response were confused and offended that he showed up to draw attention to himself, the source said. He appeared to be talking with Congressman Benny Thompson most of the time and was likely tipped off by him about a good chance for a photo op. It was inappropriate, awkward, and embarrassing for his campaign staff to be racing around, catching photos, while officials who were actually engaging in supporting Rolling Fork were trying to do their jobs, the source continued, noting Reeves had no campaign staff there, and neither did any invited officials. No, because it wasn't a campaign opportunity. They were out surveying the damage, trying to figure out what it is that they can come back and make a plan to try to make some of these people whole. And there were plenty of opportunities. And by the way, I'm going to say right now, if something like this happened in Wisconsin and I was running for senator, I would not be out there trying to trap, let's say, Tammy Baldwin into something, or try to get a photo op of me surveying the damage or anything else like that. And yes, I would be looking for a photo. I'm not above the fray of saying that there would not be an attempt to go find a photo op. I'm human. It happens. And press would be out there, especially if I was running for Senate and it actually got somewhat competitive. The press would be out there taking pictures. Do I want them taking pictures of me sitting out there with my hard hat on saying, what can I do as not an elected official? Or would I want pictures of me handing out water? Well, I wouldn't want pictures anyway, but I wouldn't want campaign staff out there taking pictures. I would want pictures of me from the press handing out water, picking stuff up for private citizens, giving out blankets, helping coordinate people into a shelter. Not surveying damage. I'm not a government official. That's Tate Reeves' job. And until the people of Mississippi come together and convene and vote and say otherwise, Presley, that's not your job yet. It might be one day. I'm not going to come out and say that it won't be. After this, it probably won't be, but on a best case scenario for you. Alright, and for those of you who want to give to charity, from 16 ABC WAPT, How to Help Mississippi Tornado Victims, from Brett Kenyon. I always like the fact that, especially when we have big disasters like this, there's always a news page right away that we can go back and find charity. And this will be linked in the Discord as well. We do that right now before we read into it. In general chat, you can find this article. If you want to help out and throw in a couple bucks or a blanket or a shirt or water or something for people who've lost everything. Mississippi communities are still recovering from the deadly tornado outbreak on March 24th, and the need for donations and volunteers is stronger than ever. If you would like to help in the recovery efforts by making a donation or volunteering time and effort, here are a few ways. You can make a donation. Multiple state agencies have combined resources to collect donations for the victims of the March 24th tornado outbreak. Items that are needed are non-perishable food, sunblock, feminine products, baby wipes, cleaning supplies, paper products, and plastic cutlery. We get this up in the chat too, by the way. If you guys want that there and you're not in the Discord, there it is. And that'll pop up on the replay too, by the way. Donations can be made at the following locations. The Rolling Fork National Guard Civic Center is opening and accepting donations. The Department of Public Safety, MEMA, and the Department of Agriculture have teamed together to accept donations of bottled water, canned goods, and paper products. The donation site is at the Old Armory at the Mississippi State Fairgrounds. Donations will be accepted Sunday through Tuesday, 0900 to 1500. The City of Olive Branch is working alongside MEMA to accept donations of supplies, bottled water, canned goods, and paper products. Donations will be accepted at the City of Olive Branch Fleet Services, located at 10414 Highway 178, next to the Olive Branch Police Department. They will be open Sunday, 1300 to 1600, and Monday through Wednesday, 0900 to 1600. The Amory Regional Museum is accepting supplies only. No monetary donations. The address is 801 3rd Street, South in Amory. Monetary donations can be sent to the Community Foundations of Washington County at P.O. Box 5910, Greenville, Mississippi 39704. Crossway Church is accepting donations at 1825 Highway 61 in South Vicksburg, Mississippi 39180. If you are looking to volunteer time or resources, MEMA officials ask that you do not self-deploy, but instead volunteer in coordination with Volunteer in Mississippi at the link that is provided here. and they have addresses if you have been impacted by the tornado, which I don't know that anybody in the audience has, but if you need a place to stay and you have access to the link that I either put in the chat or put in the Discord, there you go. I'm gonna throw a box of goods together and get that down there. Let's see if my coworkers will do it too. But that is how to help. So you got a couple places there. All right, that is one. For again, we do have a friend in Mississippi among us, and we know that he's safe now. But that's where I wanted to start with. Let's get into the title card of the day, starting with NBC News. Shooting at Nashville Christian School leaves 3 children and 3 adults dead, officials say. And of course, what do they put up at the top here? Guns in America! Give me a fucking break. Excuse my language. From David K. Lee and Natalie Obregon. A heavily armed former student shot through a locked school door before killing 3 children and 3 staff members at a private Christian campus in Nashville on Monday, authorities said. The shooter fatally wounded an 8-year-old, 2 9-year-olds, a custodian, a substitute teacher, and the head mistress. Before responding, officers killed the 28-year-old attacker, police said. The shooting unfolded at the Covenant School in Burton Hills Boulevard, where officers engaged the attacker. Identified by Metro Nashville Police as Chief John Drake as former student Audrey Hale. The shooter planned extensively for the attack, police said. There were maps drawn at the school, in detail of surveillance entry points, Drake said. We know and believe that entry was gained through shooting through one of the doors. Yeah, apparently shooting out a lock on a metal door doesn't ricochet back and kill you. The shooter was killed on the school's 2nd floor, a police spokesperson said. Hale had 2 assault-type rifles and a handgun, according to the official. What do you want to bet that this was some sort of brand new Daniel Defense or some other high-end rifle that is normally out of the shooter's price range? The 3 students killed were Evelyn DeCos, Haley Scruggs, and William Kinney, police tweeted. Which is weird because, especially given the age, the single-digit age of these, I'm surprised that they actually released the names. Substitute teacher Cynthia Peak, 61, school head Catherine Kuntz, 60, and custodian Mike Hill were also killed, police said. Kuntz is a Vanderbilt grad who had a doctorate in education, according to the school's website. Students of the school, which serves preschool students through 6th graders, were bused to Woodmont Baptist Church, 2 miles away, to be reunited with their parents after the shooting. Police said they first got calls about the shooter at 10:13 a.m. Central Time, and Nashville firefighters first reported their personnel were responding to an active aggressor at 10:39 a.m. Central Time. They heard shots coming through the 2nd level. They immediately went to the gunfire. And when the officers got to the 2nd level, they saw a shooter, a female, who was firing. The officers engaged her. She was fatally shot by responding police officers. Which, by the way, which we'll find... No. Not gonna give away the spoilers. No spoilers! Five officers came upon the shooter, and 2 opened fire, Aaron said. The shooter entered the school through a side entrance on the 1st floor, he added. By 10:27, the shooter was deceased, Aaron said, giving these people in Nashville much more credence than the cowards in Uvalde. One officer was hurt by shattered glass, officials said. So, that is what we have. Biden comments on the school shooting on Nashville. Let's see if we can listen to that. Let's see if the video player embedded does this.
School.
This time a Christian elementary.
Ben and I have been doing this our whole careers, it seems. And it's just, it's sick. You know, we're still gathering the facts of what happened and why. And we do know that as of now, there are a number of people who did not make it, including children. It's heartbreaking, a family's worst nightmare. And I want to commend the police who responded incredibly swiftly, within minutes, to end the danger. We're monitoring the situation really closely, Ben, as you know, and we have to do more to stop gun violence. It's ripping our communities apart, ripping the soul of this nation, ripping at the very soul of the nation. And we have to do more to protect our schools so they aren't turned into prisons. You know, the shooter in this situation reportedly had 2 assault weapons and a pistol, 2 AK-47. So I call on Congress again to pass my assault weapons ban. It's about time that we begin to make some more progress, but there's more to learn. But I just wanted to send my concern and hearts out to so many parents out there. I've been to so many of these sites, as Ben knows, by virtually every one. And one of the things you folks should, I know you do know, but you should focus on. You know, just like when in the military, my son was in Iraq for a year, other places, there's so many members of the military.
Your good son has nothing to do with this.
Coming back with post-traumatic stress after witnessing the violence and participating in it. Well, these children, these teachers, they should be focusing on their mental health as well. And so I'm grateful anyway. Sorry to start off that way, but I couldn't begin without acknowledging what happened.
Well, that froze up right there, so that's fine. I don't know if it's still loading. I don't know if it just got bumped off offline or not. But that's stopping there. But we actually do have some breaking news coming out here because ALX on Twitter tweets out, and tweets by Britt retweets with a quote tweet. But we'll start with ALX. ALX tweets, in the wake of a school shooting, Joe Biden says he come down to speak because he heard there was ice cream and gets distracted by good-looking kids in the audience. And Britt went out and confirmed that this was real. Reaching out to Sarah Higdon. So this is not a deep fake. Allegedly, this is not a deep fake. This is real. Let's watch.
Room of the White House.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband.
God.
And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip.
Oh.
I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. God. Ben, how are you, pal? One of the best guys in the United States Congress, Ben Cardin.
Oh.
Folks, it's a delight to have you all here. And who are those good-looking kids back there?
No!
Are your kids, all 4 of them?
No!
Well, stand up, guys.
John, we'll jump back in here. Considering the moment.
We'll jump back here when he stops humiliating himself. No! 81 million votes, folks. Most popular president in U.S. history. More popular than even Barack Obama. I love how over on the other screen over here, I've got in the trending, do something. Even though this story is going to disappear, like overnight.
Moment.
We were told that the
shooting that just happened left 3 children dead, 3 adults dead, shooters dead.
Yes, let's hurry up and talk over him before he says something else horrifying. I can't believe I just... Oh, no. 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 By the way, I'm putting this in the Discord right now. I don't know if I'm gonna have to go back into the main tweet instead of the quote tweet, but yeah, this is also gonna be in general chat. No! This is such a dumpster fire. I want to watch it again.
Into the White House.
They let him keep going, too.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband. And I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip. I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream. By the way, I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. I think I'm kidding. I'm not. God. Ben, how are you, pal? One of the best guys in the United States Congress, Ben Cardin. Folks, it's a delight to have you all here. And who are those good-looking kids back there? They're your kids, all four of them? Well, stand up, guys.
Everybody who's watching this on replay is so confused right now.
John, we'll jump back in here.
John, we'll jump back in here after we talk over him so he doesn't... Oh my God. Oh my God. They let this person talk. That's the worst part. Alright, I can't keep watching this. Alright, let's grab one from CNN. Victims ID'd after female shooter. Nope, no spoilers. Victims ID'd after female shooter kills 3 9-year-old students, 3 adults at private Christian school in Nashville, police said. From Eric Levinson and Jennifer Henderson. An armed woman fatally shot 3 9-year-old students and 3 adults at a private Christian elementary school in Nashville before she was shot and killed by police, authorities said, in the deadliest school shooting in nearly a year. Only outdone by Uvalde and Parkland, and oh, look at all the stats we're going to bring out. The 28-year-old shooter, who was not identified yet, entered the Covenant School via a side door and was armed with at least 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun, said Metro Nashville Police spokesperson Don Aaron. She fired multiple shots in the first and second floors of the school, he said. A 5-member team of police officers heard the gunfire, went to the second floor and fatally shot the woman, Aaron said. The first call about the shooting came at 10:13 a.m. So, police initially said the shooter appeared to be in her teens, but later said she is a 20-year-old white woman who lives in Nashville. Police Chief John Drake said his initial findings showed she was at one point a student at the school. A vehicle was located nearby and gave clues as to the suspect's identity, he added. Victims identified. One police officer who responded to the scene was wounded from cut glass, Aaron said. And every town is going to come in and say, the 19th shooting in a school or university this year. I thought it was 89th, by the way. In which at least one person was wounded. Oh, that's why. Because the 89th one was, oh, well, it's an accidental discharge at a police academy. That counts, right? Last week, 2 faculty members were shot and wounded by a student at a high school in Denver, and the student was later found dead of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Alright, so that is what we have for that. Let's talk about the shooter, shall we? We're going to start with Heavy.com. And by the way, your CNNs, your Skies, your ABCs, your NBCs, they're not touching this for the 10-foot pole, just so you know. Audrey Hale, Nashville Covenant School shooting suspect. 5 fast facts you need to know. I didn't pre-read this, so I don't know what they're going to put into this one. Audrey Hale was the 28-year-old former art student accused of fatally shooting 3 students and 3 adult staff members at the Covenant School in Nashville on March 27th. Audrey Elizabeth Hale, a Nashville resident who once attended the private Christian school, is also dead, police said. The victims were rushed to the local hospital where they were pronounced dead, according to officials. A total of 7 people, including the shooter, were killed at the school, police said. The victims have been identified by police on Twitter. Evelyn, we know these names, we did this already. While police called the suspect a female and a woman, and used she/her pronouns during the first press conferences on LinkedIn, Hale indicated the use of he/him pronouns. Nashville Police Chief John Drake said Hale does identify as transgender per a later press conference. Boom, this one's out of the news. Hale's family and friends have not commented if Hale was transgender or had transitioned from female to male, or just preferred he/him pronouns. The LinkedIn also indicated Hale has used the name Aiden Hale, including 2 links to a now deleted Instagram page under the name creative.aiden, and a Facebook page with the name Aiden Creates, along with the still active Redbubble site with the same name. Not for long. They are scrubbing this in a hurry. Hale uses the name Audrey Hale on a personal website. Police said they were searching the home connected to Hale in the Nashville area. Here's what you need to know. Audrey Hale, who left behind detailed maps of school surveillance and a manifesto, was killed by police on the 2nd floor of the Covenant School, officials said. 2 officers confronted Hale on the 2nd floor of the school, Nashville police tweeted. Police said Hale went to the second floor and opened fire. We have investigations ongoing right now at the residence on Brightwood Avenue, and we've made contact with the father that lived at the residence and are putting together more information, Drake said in a later press conference. Let's see. Number 2, Audrey Elizabeth Hale was an illustrator and graphic designer and an art student at Nassau College of Art in Nashville, according to LinkedIn. We've got police cruisers on the scene. 3, Audrey Hale's mother posted about gun control and school shootings on her Facebook page. That doesn't seem like that is actually relevant to this. Audrey Hale, who has no criminal history, was armed with assault rifles and may have conducted a threat assessment on another location, police said. And 5, Audrey Hale's neighbor said the mass shooting was tragic for everybody. Yes, it was. But with the suspicion of transsexuality and the fact that, yes, we are going through on a scrubbing spree of social media, tells me that, they don't want this one to go very far. From The Independent, Audrey Hale, former student, left map and manifesto after shooting 6 at Nashville Christian School. By the way, is there a leak of the manifesto that we can actually read? I want to see if it reads like the nut job in Buffalo, because his was out there. If this was something that was written by an FBI agent somewhere. I have questions about that. Anybody who's been watching Contemporary for more than 4 episodes knows that I have questions a lot. The woman who killed 6, including 3 children, at Christian Elementary School has been identified as Audrey Hale. She shot open a side door before opening fire on students. We know that. Metro Nashville Police, John Drake, said Hale was not believed to have any previous criminal records. He said a manifesto and a map of the school grounds showing entrances had been found at her home. Which is horrifying because, especially given the fact that 3 of the victims were kids, means that this was very much premeditated. Now, there are other people who are bringing up the fact that Tennessee signs a transgender surgery ban on March 3rd, and on March 27th, a transgender person goes and shoots up a school. Let's see. They could have suggested a motive for such a horrific crime, but, again, if it's going against Bill Lee's bill, that tells me that we're never going to see this manifesto. They're only going to put the manifesto out if it says something like, Das! Things I probably can't say because they'll get clipped if I ever get famous, by Jared Holt. let's maybe not go down that road on YouTube. We have a manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over on that pertain to this day, the actual incident. We have a map drawn out of how this was all going to take place. There's right now a theory that we may be able to talk about later, but it's not confirmed, so we'll put that out as soon as we can. Drake says the attack was targeted as well. Alright, some more stuff out of here. Andy Nyo. Breaking: the deceased mass shooter of the Christian school in Nashville has been identified as #transperson Audrey Hale. 3 children and 3 staff were murdered. The shooting comes amid a surge in far-left death threats in Tennessee over the state banning the medical transitioning of minors. Hale's art page featured LGBTQIROPXTMLCXRAPULXMOUR, sometimes Y, themed work. The M&M's born this way. BZ Drano. Unconfirmed reports identify the Nashville shooter as Audrey Hale, a biological female that identifies as he, him. On their LinkedIn, authorities believe the transgender shooter previously attended the Christian school. Instagram account, Creative Aiden, has been deleted. Oh, really? Just bye. No, we don't want to talk about this anymore. War Andy Nyo. A little bit of a reaction from this one here. DC #Antifa member Jason Charter, who was convicted for violent rioting in 2020, sent me the following message after I reported that the Nashville Christian school mass killer is a trans person. Charter blames society for the murders. Not the person, because it's not an evil Republican this time. Charter messages out in DM, you seriously are a scumbag. You're blaming trans people for what occurred today. Well, it was a trans person, not people. When it's people like you that drove them to the brink. What they did was an evil act, but it wouldn't have happened if everyone treated trans people as human. Well, see, I don't know about that. In fact, I would likely say that is bullshit. And there's the perpetrator. Yes, I am the Jason Charter, charged by Trump as the Antifa ringleader. I am a poly-pansexual leftist activist organizer. Yeah, who could have seen that coming? I spend my life dedicated to fixing the problems in this country. From the Daily Wire, White House blames Republicans after Nashville Christian school shooting. That's funny. Because I would have a hard time believing, by the way, that this specific person would have voted Republican. Call me crazy. I would have a hard time believing that. From Zach Jewell. White House Press Secretary token diversity hire. Blame Republicans and their stance on gun control for the grade school shooting Monday that left 3 children and 3 adults dead. Why? Because of course she did. The shooting at Covenant shocked Nashville and was particularly unusual given the police said the shooter was a white 28-year-old Nashville woman who identified as a man. Police also believe the woman was a former student. And the White House was quick to politicize the tragedy. Yeah, there's no tragedy out there. Even the tornadoes in Tennessee, which we didn't hear much about that from the Biden admin while we were going over that, but that's probably due to climate change. Let's listen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. So we're seeing the heartbreaking news of another shooting of innocent school children, this time in Nashville, Tennessee. The president has been briefed on this situation, and our team is in contact with DOJ and local officials about what is known so far. We want to express the president's appreciation for the first responders and prayers for all the families affected by this shooting. While we don't know yet all the details in this latest tragic shooting, we know that too often our schools and communities are being devastated by gun violence. Schools should be safe spaces for our kids to grow and learn, and for our educators to teach. As you all know, President Biden has taken more action than any president in history on gun safety, from nearly two dozen actions, including the executive order he just signed last month, or this month, pardon me, to the bipartisan Safer Communities Act legislation he signed into law after the tragedies in Uvalde and Buffalo. He also believes it's not enough. We must do more, and he wants Congress to act, because enough is enough. In his State of the Union, the president called on Congress to do something to stop the epidemic of gun violence, tearing families apart, tearing communities apart. How many more children have to be murdered before Republicans in Congress will step up and act to pass the assault weapons ban? To close.
How many more of our people are going to have to run out there and shoot people before Republicans do what we want?
Those loopholes in our background check system, or to require the safe storage of guns. We need to do something. Once again, the president calls on Congress to do something before another child is senselessly killed in a preventable act of gun violence. Again, we need to do something.
President Biden has been briefed on the shooting and is actively talking with local leaders in Nashville, according to Diversity Hire. Brandon commented on the shooting during a small business admin's women's business summit Monday afternoon, calling on Congress to pass his gun control legislation in the video clip that we watched earlier that actually made me astonished and horrified on air. So, anyway, this is probably the last you're going to hear about this story. That's the sad part of it, because they can't go back out and well, they've tried to politicize it, but they can't run out and say straight white male, assault weapon, known to the FBI, manifesto, even though there was a manifesto, far right, Nazi, Sieg Heil, things like that. They can't go out and say any of that stuff. So this one just drifts off into the ether until Everytown USA has to say 19 shootings with injuries. What are we going to do? Alright, what else do we have? Let's move on. Let's talk about foreign stuff here. From CBS, Russia to deploy tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus on Ukraine's northern border, Putin says. From Rami Inocencio Omar Abdulkader Tucker Reels. Russia has ratcheted up tensions with the West amid its ongoing war against the Ukraine, with President Vladimir Putin saying Moscow will deploy tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus. The Russian leader said 10 fighter jets capable of carrying tactical nukes, will generally a reference to smaller weapons used for limited battlefield attacks, rather than larger, long-range strategic nuclear weapons, were already deployed in Belarus. Putin said that Russia would also position nuclear-armed Iskander hypersonic missiles with a range of about 300 miles in Belarus. The move wasn't completely unexpected. As Putin's ground war in Ukraine has struggled in recent months to make significant gains, he has repeatedly threatened to resort to nuclear weapons. But announcing a new deployment of such weapons represents an escalation in his rhetoric and drew quick condemnation from the West. Yeah, that's probably not something you want to do if you want to preserve the church at St. Petersburg. Because, when this country shoves an intercontinental thermonuclear bomb up your ass, it's going to take a lot of that priceless and irreplaceable art from the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th centuries with it. This is like the level of the Cuban Missile Crisis right here. Now, mind you, nobody's launching nukes at each other right now, but this is that kind of shakeup, and yeah, throwing, especially given where Belarus is. Now, let's get the map up like we always do. Let's throw some music back up too, by the way. So we can look at, I don't know if they have given a detail as to where these are going to get deployed in Belarus, but let's get the map up. Let's have a look. Looks like we'll be talking Ukraine tomorrow too, but... So, this is the Ukraine. This is Belarus, which means NATO, 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 NATO. NATO, I believe. Romania. Somebody correct me on that one. But I mean, Poland is the big one. So if they're going to here, then there are people that are going to be making some conversations. But even there, this actually kind of changes my curiosity as to whether or not they have interest in taking Kiev or make people think that they want to take Kiev. Because, again, remember, as I pointed out, the fighting in Ukraine hasn't really gone past the line from Kharkiv to Odessa. There have been some deployments out here in Belarus, possibly, and again, this is not me trying to read the mind of Vladimir Putin, this is just me identifying my StarCraft days and looking and seeing how I've set up camps in StarCraft. Having a defensive line over here, in case somebody from either this location or even up in here decides to make an incursion into Belarus, which is not out of the question. But again, I mean, in the year that we've been doing this, this seems to be the line right here. No further. So I'm not going to be the one to say that this, I mean, this makes me nervous. This legitimately makes me nervous. The Russian autocrat, you use that word, and I don't believe that you know what it means, by the way, argue that he was merely doing what the US and NATO have done for years, as the US-led alliance has nuclear-armed missiles deployed in Western Europe. NATO has called that justification by Putin misleading. Kind of. Russia's nuclear rhetoric is dangerous and irresponsible. Oana Lungescu, a spokesperson for the alliance, said on Sunday, Russia's reference to NATO's nuclear sharing is totally misleading. NATO allies act with a full respect of their international commitments. Russia has consistently broken its arms control commitments. NATO is vigilant, and we are closely monitoring the situation, Lungescu said in a statement, adding that the alliance had not, however, seen any changes in Russia's nuclear posture that would lead to us to adjust our own. Oh look, they gave us a map too. The Biden admin issued a similarly guarded response, with National Security Council spokesman John Kirby saying Sunday the White House had also seen nothing that would indicate Mr. Putin is preparing to use tactical nukes in any way whatsoever in Ukraine. I can also tell you that we haven't seen anything that would cause us to change our own strategic nuclear deterrent posture, Kirby said. Ukrainian National Security Chief Alexei Danilov accused Russia of holding its small ally Belarus, which sits just north of Ukraine, hostage with the plan to deploy nuclear weapons in the country. Even though Belarus, the article that's linked here, we're not going to go into that, but the headline there is Belarus says it's willing to host Russian nukes if it's threatened. The escalating rhetoric from Putin comes as his ground war increasingly appears stalled on the muddy battlefields of eastern Ukraine. The hard-fought over city of Bakhmut, which for months was borne the brunt of the onslaught, as Ukrainian forces cling on to it, and Moscow throws wave after wave of soldiers and mercenaries at the front line, has been blasted beyond recognition. So, yeah, this is, again, as I said at the beginning, this is like Cuban Missile Crisis level stuff. The Associated Press, which is, of course, going to be totally objective and not editorialized. Why does Russia want tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus? No author given. Because this is going to be an incredibly editorialized piece of shit. The announcement by Russian President Vladimir Putin that he intends to deploy tactical nukes in the country of Belarus appears to be another attempt to raise the stakes in the conflict in Ukraine. It follows Putin's warnings that Moscow is ready to use all available means to fend off attacks on Russian territory, a reference to its nuclear arsenal. How did Putin explain his move? Putin said President Alexander Lukashenko of Belarus has long urged Moscow to station its nuclear weapons in his country, which has close military ties with Russia and was staging a ground for the invasion of neighboring Ukraine on February 24th, 2022. Russia's already helped modernize Belarusian warplanes to make them capable of carrying nukes, something that Belarus's authoritarian leader has repeatedly mentioned. In remarks on the broadcast Saturday, Putin said the immediate trigger for the deployment of Russia's tactical nuclear weapons in Belarus was Britain's decision to provide Ukraine with armor-piercing shells containing depleted uranium. Putin toned down his language after the first falsely claiming that such rounds have nuclear components, but he insisted they pose an additional danger to the civilian population and could contaminate the environment. Yeah, salt of the earth. Putin also said that by stationing tactical nukes in Belarus, Russia will be doing what the US has done for decades, putting its nuclear weapons in Belgium, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Turkey. He alleged the Russian move doesn't violate any international treaty banning the proliferation of nuclear weapons, even though Moscow has argued before that the US has breached the pact by deploying them on the territory of its NATO allies. Putin's move contrasted with the statement that he and Xi Jinping issued after the talks in the Kremlin last week, which spoke against nuclear powers deploying atomic weapons outside their territories in an apparent jab at the United States. So that may be why he's looking into this. Again, not necessarily trying to read the mind of Vladimir Putin, just offering some ideas on things that I've done in RTS. And CNN, with their own editorialization board. With plan for tactical nukes in Belarus, Putin is scaring the world to distract from his problems. Analysis by Jill Doherty, which is actually an op-ed. We've got another one of those later down the stack too, by the way. We'll see if we get there. We're an hour and 15 minutes in on a normally 2-hour program, and we're a little less than halfway so far. Vladimir Putin says he plans to deploy tactical nukes in Belarus, the neighboring ally from which he staged part of his February 2022 invasion of Ukraine. When the Russian president uses the word nuclear, the world pays attention, and that appears to be a major reason why he said it. As usual with Putin, the world should read the fine print and check the context. The weapons Putin plans to move to Belarus are not strategic nuclear weapons. Those giant intercontinental ballistic missiles that if fired could end life on Earth. Or let me play Fallout in real life. I hope I get ghoulified. Come on, Skin. Tactical nukes are smaller but powerful and can be used on the battlefield. Putin has been threatening the possibility of nuclear war for the past year, especially when his military operation in Ukraine is faltering. It is not faltering. That could explain the context of Putin's announcement. He is a man with a lot of problems right now. Russian forces are bombarding Ukrainian cities from the air, but their ground war is not making much headway. Aside from several new trade agreements with China, Putin doesn't get much out of his summit with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. If anything, Russia now appears to be China's junior partner. Always has been. Now about that fine print. Putin is blaming this decision on the other side, saying he made it in response to the UK supplying Ukraine with anti-tank ammunition that contains depleted uranium. That, Putin charges, is a dangerous escalation. The UK denies this, explaining that the ammunition is used only for conventional purposes. Putin says Russia is already constructing a storage facility for the tactical nukes that will be ready in July. He gave no specific date on which tactical weapons would arrive. Yeah, no, he's sitting over there saying, "You shoot back, destroy a facility, you won't do it, no balls." Significantly, the Russian leader said he will not transfer control of the tactical nukes to Lukashenko, who has been requesting the weapons for a long time. That strikes two former U.S. diplomats with whom I spoke as strange. Lukashenko, they point out, signed the agreement in '94 to give up the strategic nuclear weapons that Belarus had at the end of the Cold War. Why would he decide to do this? One diplomat points out that weapons would have to be maintained by Russian forces who would permanently be stationed in Belarusian soil, a sign that Lukashenko is even more under Putin's control. He always has been. The Biden admin appears to be unperturbed by Putin's announcement. Well, that's because Biden doesn't know where he is or what year it is. National Security Council spokesperson Adrian Watson said the U.S. is monitoring the implications of Putin's statement, but added, "We've not seen any reason to adjust our own strategic nuclear posture, nor any indications that Russia is preparing to use a nuclear weapon. We remain committed to the collective defense of the NATO alliance." So that is where we are at on the foreign side. Back on the domestic side, more disaster. 7 killed in Pennsylvania chocolate factory explosion, officials say. From Emily May Zashor. Four more people have been found dead following a chocolate factory explosion in West Reading last week, raising the death toll to 7, officials said Sunday night. All previously missing persons had been accounted for as of Sunday. Rescue crews worked overnight to inspect the rubble at the R.M. Palmer Company, which, by the way, is super sad because that's one that's well known, actually. And discovered a 4th victim beneath debris early on Sunday morning, said West Reading Police Chief Wayne Holben during a news conference earlier Sunday. The individual was pronounced dead at the scene. Crews are continuing their diligent effort in sifting through the debris in order to locate additional individuals, the police chief said, adding that crews are fully committed to the task and will do everything in our power to ensure that we bring closure to all those involved. I want to assure you all that we will not rest until every single person affected by this tragedy has been accounted for, said Holben. He could not provide an update about the woman who was pulled alive from the rubble on Saturday. So, a chocolate factory exploded. Not just, and this goes right on to the same idea of more food processing plants going up, but this is R.M. Palmer, which, I mean, their big claim to fame is a lot of Easter candy. I don't know what they make in the year round, but anytime you get a chocolate rabbit, it's typically an R.M. Palmer chocolate. Big foil covering, not Nestle obviously, but things like that. These guys are huge at this time of year. Now mind you, at this point, being only, what are we now? 9 days from Easter? 9 days from Easter. We're at a point where most of the chocolate that they're going to ship out for Easter is already out in the stores right now, but you know, this again is another place that even in an emergency could be turned over because it's all food grade, to be turned over to make food for people. And we have a major explosion here. R.M. Palmer Candy Company operates a large factory building in West Reading where the explosion occurred Friday. Videos recorded at the site showed flames and thick clouds of black smoke engulfing the building and billowing hundreds of feet in the air. The investigation efforts will now be underway, and we can find answers to how this happened and how and if we can prevent it from happening in the future. CAG wrote on Sunday night on Facebook. Yeah, there we go. The Kinda Company, which makes seasonal chocolates for occasions like Easter, Christmas, and Halloween, employs about 850 people, according to its website. The factory in Reading has been there since the early 60s. So, an F in the chat, by the way, too, for I'm sure that their operations aren't back up. Again, 9 days before, the vast bulk of what they have out there is out in the stores. So, hopefully that means that we only see 7 deceased out of 850 people. So I don't know if that means that the majority of people were now back off and doing what they do for the rest of the year round and didn't have to be in the building. Maybe it's a blessing. Who knows? Alright. We know about this one here. Let's talk about the drinking water. Billy Penn at WHYY. This is not a Green Check article, but this is the only thing that I could find that was talking about the why we're talking about this. And then now we've got a couple articles after this about the fact that it is safe to do so. Billy Penn writes, Drinking Water Advisory, what we know about the hazardous spill in a Delaware River tributary. An emergency alert that Philadelphians may want to avoid drinking or cooking with tap water because of a chemical spill in Bucks County is now on hold until 3:30 p.m. Tuesday. No contamination has been measured in Philly's water supply as of Monday afternoon, according to Deputy Managing Director Mike Carroll of Otis. City officials had previously advised residents to switch to bottled water at 2 p.m. as a precaution. After testing and analysis, they extended the deadline to midnight on Monday because that's when they estimated the water containing possible contaminants might make it through Philadelphia's Baxter drinking water treatment plant, travel down the water remains, and flow into individual taps. Late Monday, after additional testing, officials confirmed tap water will be safe through at least Tuesday afternoon. If the water quality sampling does not indicate an impact, the city will notify residents and the Department of Commerce will notify businesses immediately. Commerce Director Ann Nadel promised at a Monday 5 p.m. press briefing. What happened? Hazardous materials were released after an equipment failure at the Trinseo Altuglis manufacturing facility in Bristol Township just before midnight Friday, causing more than 8,000 gallons of latex emulsion to pour into Otter Creek. Gross. According to Chemical Company and the U.S. Coast Guard, which is helping with the cleanup. The creek flows into the Delaware River, which applies water to the eastern half of Philly. There's no concern over skin exposure or inhalation, mostly because everything that they make is something you wear on your skin. Unless you're allergic, of course. Carroll said, and the city issued its initial advisory about ingesting water out of an abundance of caution. The Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection has had people on site since a few hours after the spill, according to DEP Acting Secretary Rich Negrin, and is working with the EPA, Coast Guard, Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, and the utility companies in the area, Aqua Pennsylvania, Lower Bucks Joint Municipal Authority, Philadelphia Water Department, and the New Jersey American. So, latex emulsions and an abundance of caution. As of right now, it appears that everything is good and safe, so I don't have to run with that, but people are people. At least it wasn't toilet paper this time. Philadelphia residents panicked about water after being alerted to chemical spill, but officials say tap water is safe for now. And this is why you should have bottled water on hand. From Selena Tibor, Susanna Cullinane, Deccan Andone, and Danny Freeman. Philadelphia residents can continue using tap water as normal until at least 3:30 p.m. Tuesday, following a chemical spill a few miles upstream of a key intake at the Delaware River, city officials said on Monday. DM Ryan, that's a new name over here, by the way. Please tell me more about the ice cream. I saw that over there, but I didn't bring it up, and I should have, like, an hour ago. No, a half hour ago. And Mr. Scott is here as well. Let's see. Late Monday, city officials posted online that they were confident tap water from the Baxter drinking water treatment plant will remain safe to drink and use through at least 11:59 p.m. But the assurances following leaders' initial recommendations that residents use bottled water starting Sunday at 2 is causing confusion, concern, and anger in the busy East Coast hub where some grocery shelves are already empty of water. Well, again, that happens all the time when we do stuff like this. Let's drop this just a little bit. I just kind of glanced over at my monitors and saw that the music was jumping a little higher than I wanted it to. I tried to, one day I'll go back and show you again how the sausage is made, and we'll get the picture and picture and picture and picture kind of thing, but I'll show you how it's made and how I determine how loud the music is, because I am listening to it at a lot lower volume than you are. I can tell you that right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, anytime you come back out and say, yes, we need this, we need that, and people are going to go panic buy. Which, I mean, is good because they're not sitting here constantly dumping soda down their throats like they were in the 90s. So that's good, but, you know, again, you can get your water from beer if you need to, and that's got alcohol in it, so that kills a lot of the bad stuff in there. Do keep that in mind. Some of you probably have a still at home. I don't recommend using it, or having it, or creating your own product out of it, but there's that. There's liquors out there that'll keep you going for at least a little bit. But yes, you will need water at some point too, so there's that. Alright, let's talk about the TikTok bill. Lawmakers to advance TikTok bill, U.S. House Speaker says, from Brandon Dre. Kevin McCarthy announced Sunday that lawmakers would advance legislation proposing a nationwide ban on TikTok after the video sharing app's CEO testified before Congress last week. House Energy and Commerce Committee officials called on TikTok CEO Shu Zi Chu to testify before the panel, put over their national security threats, data privacy, and safety issues for the app's 150 million American users. During the hearing, Chu neglected to answer whether individuals associated with ByteDance, the social media platform's Chinese parent company, helped them prepare for the hearing. Lawmakers further pressed Chu, asking if the app has spied on Americans at the request of Beijing, which the CEO denied. McCarthy has previously signaled he would support a nationwide ban on TikTok, as both Democratic and Republican lawmakers have raised concerns over allegations the Chinese Communist Party has access to user data through links between TikTok and ByteDance, as well as the extent to which authorities in China maintain power and influence over both entities. Here's the problem. Well, we'll be talking about this in a bit, but yeah, I mean, it does look like Congress is going to go ahead on this. And in an unprecedented move, use the foreign influence of the company as a justification for shutting the company down in the U.S. Mises caucus pointing out, probably correctly at this point, the Restrict Act is not just limited to TikTok. It gives the government authority over all forms of communication, domestic and abroad, and grants powers to enforce any mitigation measures to address any risk to national security now and in any potential future transaction. So, and they've got a couple selections from this. A bill to review and prohibit certain transactions between persons in the U.S. and foreign adversaries, and for other purposes. One selection pointed out, Section 3, addressing information and communication technology products and services that pose undue or unacceptable risk. In paragraph A, they highlight imposing and enforcing any mitigation measure to address any risk arising from any covered transaction by any person or with respect to any property subject to the jurisdiction of the U.S. that the Secretary determines. Last selection they have, timing. The term covered transactions includes a current, past, or potential future transaction. So I've got the text of the bill. I have not read through this one yet. I found this, and again, I was running late today before I got here, so I'm going to put this in the chat. If you guys want to go over it, it's right there. Go ahead, have a look. Put it in the Discord too. If you want to read over this one yourself, it's a actually it is a quite lengthy bill. Like scroll, 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 scroll. It's barely moving. But one thing that I want to talk about with this, and what seems to be going, and what Mises pointed out when they were talking about this, is the fact that the problem is not TikTok. It's a good scapegoat because we're adversarial with China, or we're supposed to be. Biden, I'd like you to comment on that, but we're supposed to be adversarial with China right now. Being adversarial with China means that the assumption is that anything that could go wrong would be China coming out and spying on us because they're adversarial with us, supposedly. But with that being said, and I pointed this out when we first started talking about this, because the language was always foreign companies putting social media into this country. Now, the ones that they don't seem to have a problem with spying on us, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, things like that, which are absolutely already spying on us as well. They don't seem to have a problem with that. It's the foreign ones off of here, and the problem that I have with this is the fact that it's, even from what I've seen so far into this, it's so vague in the language that, you know, what else do we have out there that's foreign run, that's running in this country? Post Millennial is Canadian. Rumble is Canadian. Daily Wire is not. What else do we have that's running in this country that we like to use? Minds is British, I believe. It's British or Canadian, I can't remember which one. BitChute is British, that one I know. Odyssey, I believe, is French, actually. So we've got all these supposed Nazi sites that you're never supposed to go to because they're Nazis, and they're all operating outside of the US. They can grab TikTok and try to get Republicans on board and say, yes, those evil Chinese are spying on us, and be granted the absolute power to get rid of, again, a lot of services that a lot of us like to use. So that's something to keep in mind with this. Archived from Reuters with a few good tools. Biden needs new law to ban TikTok, experts say, from Alexandra Alper and David Shepardson. A person holds a smartphone as a TikTok logo is displayed behind the picture. Illustration taken November 7th, 2019. Okay, so that's the caption. The Biden admin is now under pressure to ban popular Chinese-owned social media app TikTok. But any such move likely hinges on passage of new law that bolsters the government's ability and authority to regulate speech, experts said. Pressure is mounting from lawmakers and national security hawks to ban TikTok, which is owned by ByteDance, over fears the app could censor content, influence users, and pass Americans' personal data to Beijing, allegation that the company denies. Courts blocked a prior bid by the Trump admin to ban the app in part on the grounds that such a move violated free speech protections. That means any move to block the app likely depends on the passage of legislation like the Restrict Act, a bipartisan bill introduced by senators this month, granting the Commerce Department new power to ban foreign technology that poses a national security risk that would circumvent speech protections embedded in existing law, lawyers and China watchers said. Yeah, it wasn't any better when the Donald did it. And again, I love Elaine. I really do. But I'm not going to be like Elaine and come out there and just because the former president wants to go back and ban something, or the current president wants to go back and ban something, I'm not going to run out and go get it like she did. Yes, by the way, Elaine signed up for TikTok the day that on the Red Net Show we covered the Trump admin trying to ban the app. That was the day she'd signed up. Was because of that. Because it was a, haha, you can't ban this because I have it. And I'm going to have this because you want to ban it. I'm not going to go do that. I have no interest in being on TikTok. None. I have no interest on going on TikTok, making content on TikTok. I make long form video. I go for a minimum of an hour. I'm like Rush Limbaugh. They're going to give me a 10-minute interview. I'm telling you right now, at 10 minutes into my program, I'm not even done clearing my throat for the show. He actually said that on one of his last episodes live. He was supposed to be I think he was supposed to be on like Tucker or something that night. But yeah, it's like Reuters is even coming out and saying it. It gives the Commerce Department the power to ban foreign technology that poses a national security risk. Oh look! BitChute is inspiring all these Nazis. We have to ban it. Why are we still having people on BitChute? Or BitSlide if you're on the mobile side of things. Minds, that Canadian website that the Nazis like to go use? We have to go ban that because it's Canadian. Restrict is really helpful because it gives this completely new from scratch legal authority that doesn't have any of those complications under other laws, said Emily Kilcrease, a senior fellow at the Center for New American Security and former deputy assistant U.S. Trade Representative. It's a much stronger, cleaner legal authority. TikTok previously criticized the Restrict Act, saying the Biden admin does not need additional authority from Congress to address national security concerns about TikTok. It can improve the deal negotiated with the Biden admin over 2 years that it spent the last 6 months reviewing. Yeah, but again, they're not going after TikTok. Well, they're going after TikTok, but it doesn't end at TikTok. It's anybody that stands a threat to the Uniparty. Coming from the Hill, via Yahoo News, Ocasio-Cortez, the Honorable and Venerable Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which I think we've got video of this as well, posts first TikTok in support of the app, saying, ban doesn't feel right. As a potential TikTok ban looms, the Honorable and Venerable Alexandria Ocasio-Chavez, D-Twitch, gave her response in a unique way by posting her first video on the social media platform. Is that really her first video? I thought she's been doing that for a while. This is not only my first TikTok, okay, puppy? But it's a TikTok about TikTok, okay? Do I believe TikTok should be banned? No. The New York Democrats said banning the popular video sharing app would be an unprecedented move. I can't believe I'm agreeing with her on something. I can't. But I'm going to say right there, on this one, Look, guys, I will give credit where credit is due, no matter how stupid the person who deserves credit is. Plain and simple. Again, it's not going to stop with TikTok. That's the problem. And there are a lot of other things that I enjoy using that would fall under the umbrella if TikTok were to go under and get banned. I think it's important to discuss how unprecedented a move this would be, okay, puppy? The US has never before banned a social media company from existence, okay? Or operating from our borders. And this is an app that has over 150 million Americans on it, okay, puppy? Now, mind you, this is the same. This person would absolutely 100% be immediately on board to ban Parler or Truth Social. or Twitter, if Twitter stopped towing their line. So, while I know that she's right on this one, which I can't believe I'm saying, while I'm well aware of the fact that she is correct on this one, I know that you flip the coin around and it's something that she doesn't like to use, but it's a place where the evil radical Nazis go to and everything else like that, then it's going to be throw the ban hammer. I know how these people work. And I believe they have the video. No, they didn't put the video on this one. Thought they did. The Blaze, though. That's the only reason I put the Daily Wire article in, is because I thought I would have the video. Apparently it didn't. What a coinky-dink! Ocasio-Cortez goes to bat for TikTok after its Chinese-owned parent company dumps cash into Democrat-aligned nonprofits. Weird! And of course, Glenn Beck and I are going to be separate on how we feel about TikTok as well. Because Glenn Beck thinks that because it's Chinese, it should never be allowed to operate in this country anyway. I'm not exactly a fan of it myself. But I know where it ends. The Honorable and Venerable Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Chavez posted her first video to TikTok over the weekend in support of the controversial platform. In the video, Chavez claimed the ban, which House Speaker Kevin McCarthy indicated was aimed at protecting Americans from the genocidal Chinese regime, would be unprecedented. New York Democrats' belated support and interest in TikTok has raised eyebrows, particularly in light of new Chinese reports that its Chinese-owned parent company had dumped $150,000 into the Hispanic Congressional Caucus Foundation just a few months ago. Let's see, and we know this. Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, the chair of the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, said it's not just exfiltrating data from the American phone, it's what they're able to push Americans through the algorithm, control our sense of reality, control the news, and meddle in our future elections. Look, the kids who are on TikTok are probably not going to be rocket scientists. Kathy McMorris, the chairwoman of the Committee on Energy and Commerce, said TikTok is a weapon by the Chinese Communist Party to spy on you, manipulate what you see, and exploit for future generations. Again, if you were this concerned about it, you would be looking at, your bill would be specified to TikTok. It wouldn't be about any other foreign company. Again, like many of those who go against the Uniparty as they go. I don't use it, but I will not begrudge anybody else who wants to use TikTok. And we've got the video here. Again, a reminder, if you're on Instagram, you're not going to be able to see what the people on YouTube, Twitch, and DLive can see. Actually, I don't think we're on DLive either, because I think that's still having a heart attack over the fact that it didn't catch my, it didn't catch me shutting off my stream. What the hell was that? A week ago at this point? But we're going to watch the video. Link is in the description to get to the YouTube. Where's my music? There's my music control. There it is. Oh, we got to jump out of Twitter.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and this is my first TikTok. Now, this is not only my first TikTok, but it is a TikTok about TikTok. Now, this week, the CEO of TikTok came and testified before Congress as there is growing rumblings and discussion over a nationwide ban on the app. Do I believe TikTok should be banned? No. Why should TikTok not be banned? First of all, I think it's important to discuss how unprecedented of a move this would be. The United States has never before banned a social media company from existence, from operating in our borders. And this is an app that has over 150 million Americans on it. Some of the arguments about banning TikTok have come in with respect to discussions around Chinese surveillance and utilization of data that is tracked, and the enormous amount of tracking on U.S. citizens and data that is harvested by TikTok. And they say because of this egregious amount of data harvesting, we should ban this app. However, that doesn't really address the core of the issue, which is the fact that major social media companies are allowed to collect troves of deeply personal data about you that you don't know about without really any significant regulation whatsoever. In fact, the United States is one of the only developed nations in the world that has no significant data or privacy protection laws on the books.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you're ready to go back and dump a bunch of those privacy and protection laws again out there too, because that's I'm not sitting here listening to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez say that she wants to see a lot of free speech out there. And again, given the opportunity to ban a Rumble, which is Canadian, a BitChute, which is British, or Minds, which is Canadian, or things like that, she would be right up there because those the people that are on those websites don't align with her views. That's where the disagreement comes in. But that is what we see from Washington. All right, let's finish out what we have for... I mean, it's after 8 right now. I know I'm going to go till 8:15 because we started late, but we might even go just a little bit longer than this. More from the Biden admin. From the Hill, Biden admin to require more efficient window air conditioners and air cleaners. Yeah, they're going to come right back in here and try to control every aspect of your life still to this day. From Rachel Friesen. The Biden admin is finalizing a more stringent efficiency requirements for both window air conditioners and portable air cleaners on Thursday. The first set of efficiency standards that are new and not just a reversal of a Trump-era rollback. Window air conditioners, also known as room air conditioners, are smaller air conditioners that can be put out a window frame. They are the main cooling source for 21.4 million U.S. households, according to the Energy Department. The new standard, shared first with the Hill, would save consumers a total of about $1.5 billion a year on their electricity bills, but would cost them $12.5 trillion. Probably not that high, but I would bet you it'd be probably close to 12 to 20 billion. The Energy Department said it also expects the standards to cut carbon dioxide emissions by 106 million metric tons over 30 years, the equivalent of the annual emissions of 13.4 million homes. Together, they're expected to cost manufacturers a total of about $82.1 million to comply with. Yeah, and how much for the consumer to spend to get the new air conditioners? That's the question. How much will you spend to get the new air conditioners, I wonder? Today's announcement builds on the historic actions President Biden took last year to strengthen outdated energy efficiency standards, which will help save on people's energy bills and reduce our nation's carbon footprint, Jennifer Granholm said in a written statement. I wonder how, by the way, how much cooling you'll actually get out of these new window units. So, interesting point of what went on here. Now, in the little closet that I live in, there's actually no petroleum heat. No natural gas. I mean, it's all coal powered anyway. Because our electricity here in this area is split between hydroelectric and coal-fired plant. I know where the coal plant is, actually. So it's a split between the two. But with that being said, instead of having an actual fossil fuel powered central heat source in the building, this building insists instead on using basically it's a hotel heater and air conditioner is what it is. It's built into the lower base of the wall underneath the main window. It's right behind me over there. It's what went dead when I first came in, but even before it went dead, like, that thing was not doing crap for this place. I have an infrared heater sitting over there. That's what I've been using for the entire time I've lived here. Well, not the entire time. It was like the second week. No, the fourth week, because it was the second week of doing contemporary again, where we had to start late because I was freezing. Because I came home and that unit there had finally given out and given up, which had been going for a while anyway, but it had finally given up. So instead, we went out and used the infrared heater, and I mean, that's more energy efficient to begin with. I'm hoping not to be here long enough for me to see how well that cools over there. Just a little bit more. We're going to be buying a house. Hopefully about the time that the market hits the bottom, because I'm kind of waiting for that. But that thing actually heats well too. That's the thing. One of the things that I've noticed about all these energy efficient things that they keep putting out there is a lot of the time they don't cool as well if they're put onto a new set of standards. Now, a brand new air conditioner that's not set to the same standards as the 70-year-old one that's been sitting in your window since 1950, and that is a considerably different story. In fact, you know, even without the new emission standards that they're putting out for here, the new technology typically does cool better as it goes, but it's still not getting to the standards they're trying to get to. So, yeah, they tried to go after gas stoves, and now they're going to try to go back after window unit air conditioners. Some good news for the Biden admin, or for us from the Biden admin. Biden's picked to lead FAA, withdraws amid shaky Senate support. From David Koenig and Sung Min Kim. President Brandon's choice to run the Federal Aviation admin has withdrawn his nomination. A setback for the admin that comes after Denver International Airport CEO Philip Washington appeared to lack enough support in the closely divided Senate. Mr. Scott, that's out of your neck of the woods. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg confirmed Washington's withdrawal in a tweet Saturday night, calling him an excellent nominee and blaming underserved partisan attacks. Republicans were united in opposition to Washington, calling him unqualified because of limited aviation experience. Democrats and allied independents still might have pushed the nomination through, but key senators on their side balked at supporting Biden's pick. Washington's fate appeared settled when Senate Commerce Committee Chair Maria Cantwell abruptly called off a scheduled vote last weekend, a sign that she lacked enough votes to move the nomination out of committee. She said some senators wanted more information about Washington. Sinema declined to say how. Sinema and Tester declined to say how they would have voted. Well, especially with Sinema and Tester being close to the end of the alphabet, they would have waited to see how the political winds were going. A person familiar with the matter told the Associated Press that Sinema was holding up the nomination and indicated her opposition. The person was not authorized to discuss the process publicly and insisted on anonymity, so take that with a grain of salt. But we got one from Politico on that subject, and we've actually got another one from Politico right after that, too. From Politico, Ted Cruz helped kill Biden's FAA nominee. I would definitely reword that if it was me. Now he has thoughts about a replacement. Yeah, I would reword that if it was me. From Alex Doherty. The collapse of President Brandon's effort to fill a top job at the Federal Aviation Admin leaves the admin starting from scratch with an agency that has lacked a Senate-confirmed leader for nearly a year. But a Republican lawmaker who helped sink Biden's nominee says the president has an obvious solution. Hand the job to the acting chief who has been running the agency since April. Acting admin Billy Nolan, a former airline pilot who led the FAA's safety office, has already gotten public endorsement from Ted Cruz, who predicted during the hearing this month that he would get confirmed quickly. Some people in the aviation industry have also called Nolan an obvious choice given his experience as a pilot and safety executive and his pledges to address a recent spike in near collisions among planes. On the other hand, Nolan would not represent the clean break from the industry dominance at the FAA that Biden had promised with his original nominee. Denver Airport CEO Phil Washington withdrew his nomination on Saturday following the attacks from Cruz and other critics who called him too inexperienced. The questions about Washington's successor offer Biden a fundamental choice in what direction to take the FAA, an agency that has presided over an era of unprecedented safety in air travel, but also faced doubts about its oversight of companies such as Boeing, whose 737 MAX jetliner killed 346 people in crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia in 2018 and 2019. The White House has not announced any plans for a new FAA nominee and did not respond to a request for comment on Monday. On Saturday, the White House said it would move quickly to nominate another candidate. So, well, we've got that. Out of Michigan. How much more can we get out of here? Some of the stuff will go on things I like and things that I hate. But I'm also very hungry. So we might save the bank stuff and the Proud Boys stuff for tomorrow. Again, my big problem is I don't want to leave a bunch of stuff for Thursday because I have a funeral to go to. From Politico, Michigan strikes right-to-work law detested by unions. Because of course they did. Now my question here is, and we'll find out together because I haven't pre-read this article, is who struck it? Was an executive order? Did the actual conservative majority legislature do it? We'll find out together. From Nick Niedzwidak. In a major victory for labor unions, Michigan on Friday became the first state in more than half a century to repeal a right-to-work law. Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed legislation passed by they're not Republican-controlled anymore, that's why. Passed by the Democrat-controlled legislature, overturning a 2012 GOP law that allowed workers to choose not to join unions or pay union dues as a condition of employment, shutting large amounts of their workforce out of certain jobs. Even if the union represents them in negotiations. Michigan workers are the most talented and hardworking in the world and deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, said Whitmer, who was the Democrat leader of the state Senate at the time the right-to-work law was enacted. Republicans, however, said the move would backfire by discouraging employers from locating or expanding into the state. There's that avenue as well. Dramatically transforming our policies to harm workers and job providers will hang a closed for business sign on the state's borders and take Michigan off the list for future projects, House Republican leader Matt Hall said in a statement earlier this week during the vote on final passage. The anti-union law's repeal is a particularly significant. There's that not politicization, but editorialization again. The anti-union law's repeal. It's not anti-union to be right to work. Now, every Democrat outlet, like Politico, and CNN and The Hill and the Associated Press will tell you it's anti-union. It's not anti-union to be right to work. Now, there are a lot of anti-union people who are right to work because they want to take advantage of, yeah, you still have to represent me even though I ain't paying you. I've always been more measured in this, and I am pro right to work. My thing is, you should be able to go into a company that is union and still make a decent living. You should be able to go in there and work your ass off and rise through the ranks above everybody else and not have seniority dog you down when you work twice as hard as the person who has the years of seniority above you. And you should be able to go in there, and if you want to work and make a living and not be involved in the politics of the building, you should be able to say, fuck off, I don't want to buy into your union. Now, with that being said, the side of things with right to work, and my neoconservative cousin was very, very into this because he thought this was a major victory that was going to destroy unions forever, is that I don't agree with the fact that they have to represent you if you're not paying dues. I think that's bullshit. I do. I think that's bullshit. If you're not paying for the service, you don't get to reap the benefits. My two big problems with unions. Number one, I have never, again, this put me at direct contrast with my neoconservative cousin, and we've had this debate before. I have never, ever been against the idea of workers coming together out of their own pocket. Now, the biggest problem that I have with a modern labor union is the fact that it gets its dues directly from your company's payroll department that they're supposed to be fighting against. You don't go in and write a check to the union. Your company takes the dues out of your paycheck and gives it right to the union. And this company, by the way, that your union is supposed to be fighting against as hard as they can, they're getting their money from your company's payroll department. Remember that. But I do think that people should be able to come in, pull some money and some resources together, get a lawyer, get representation, and have both a financial pledge and a contract, whereas if one of you walks off the job for bad working conditions, low hours, low wages, etc., that you all do so. If you want to do that, that is your prerogative. If you want to do that, gather together and make a union amongst yourselves without having the corporate AFL-CIO over you. I have never had a problem with that. It's part of negotiation. It's part of trying to get better working conditions, better wages. The AFL-CIO doesn't do anything like that, though. They skim your wages from your company's payroll department. And then every once in a while they tell your company to give you a nickel raise. And then go take that money and donate it to the DNC. And yes, I do believe that if you want to opt out of that, that should be your option. I've always been pro opt-out, even as far as opt-out of the government. So, that's how I see the union. Then I do think that there are a lot more people out there that are not in the full-on Trump cult, that hate the union because their grandpappy told them that they have to do so because they're a redneck, that can see this pragmatically. And really, honestly, I do think that the GOP rep that's leading the opposition to this bill is correct. This is going to make it harder for businesses to move to Michigan, and in fact, they'll go down to the South, where union laws are practically non-existent. But that's what we have for that. We're going to save this big chunk of news here for later on in the week. Some of this is going to land on things that I like and things that I hate. But it is Monday, so that means we're going to do the live chat here today. Now, as I've been paying more attention to the live chat as we go, I'm going to do an experiment here, and I'm not going to do the live chat from the week, because I do try to say hi to everybody as they come in, but we'll actually do the live chat segment for today. So we'll see who chatted today. Plus, I'm insanely hungry. Seawall is here this morning. He says, "Oh, spoilers!" Because before we talked about the transsexuality of the shooter in Nashville, I had mentioned it before, but I'm like, no, we're going to wait till after we go through the details, what the mainstream media wants to tell you before we go talk about the transsexuality. Seawall. And Seawall tells me, it was unfortunate this person who lives in a different body than what they were born in didn't 41% itself. Subscriber to the backup channel. Before it went postal. Luke Wee is here. Welcome, Luke Wee. Randy Crush Saga is here. Good evening, fellow heads. Arvolt confirming family is all safe. Arvolt, of course, being in Mississippi, and our top story today. We didn't go right into the Nashville shooting. We instead talked about what happened in Mississippi today. We have got the charities for the Mississippi tornado victims in the chat and in the Discord. Arvolt took off for a bit. Thank you for that. DM Ryan, that's a new name in here, by the way. Please tell me more about the ice cream. Yeah, we listened to Joe Biden at the small business meeting after he got briefed about what happened in Nashville, getting distracted by kids that he found interesting in the crowd. Thank you, DM Ryan, for that. Mr. Scott is here. I just paid my city almost $400 to get a roll-off. It'll probably cost them $150 for service and dumping. The fuel's expensive, but that's probably not too far off the mark. I would probably say closer to $200, but still not enough to say to note that they're still going to pocket half of that. Heat pump technology is actually pretty efficient. I don't know, man. The one that's plugged in over there is 110 and 10 amp, and that is 200 amp. So, go to the local bar, buy a few beers for the local HVAC dude. Ask him about bringing a line set and making sure you're full up on refrigerant. If you have old stuff, chances are you probably have old refrigerant, yeah? A lot of the problem isn't necessarily the refrigerant and the compressor side of things, although the compressor is less efficient. A lot of times it's actually the motor, because we have come so far in brush technology on the motors, but then they're trying to use that to cut corners to make less efficient compressors and less efficient cooling systems by saying the motor works a lot less hard. So, hey, you know, you're still doing great. Doesn't matter the fact that you can't get below 82 degrees. But yeah, to like have a modern motor with the rebuilt and reattached into the old style system with the old style refrigerant, man, it'd be like a refrigerator in your house. I can tell you that right off the bat. And HVAC dudes have a tank or two of the old shit laying around. That costs money to get rid of that. Yeah, it does. So you'd be doing them a favor. Huh. They probably rewarded to be stupid and more hostile. I hate journalists nowadays. Let's see. State-backed Chinese moguls are openly paying dual citizen media moguls. I'm sorry, I'm not going to go down that other road. To sissify the American people. Labels are for low IQ people. Let's go back to the fox and rabbit analogy. According to the rabbit, the fox is bad. And the rabbit doesn't have the mental capacity to understand and appreciate that eating rabbits is a good thing for the fox. And hey, I don't think we had a falling out. I think of it more as a ground leveling. I hope Ron Helton is doing okay. I do too. I miss Ron Helton. I know, again, he's mad at me for coming back and saying, let's not do the blame Israel for everything, even though that was not directed at him. You can only opt out so far until you find yourself in a desolate wasteland with nobody and no prospects. Just like now. This notion that you have a choice, you don't have a choice. I don't want to talk about people falling victim to propaganda. So you skirt the issue and talk about the effects of the cause. Alright, anyway. We're going to call it there. Again, funeral on Thursday. I do not anticipate missing any contemporary. Because it's 11 o'clock in the morning and it's only an hour away. So we'll be up there. We'll get done. We'll get out. Probably get some food. I might go up after contemporary on Wednesday too. Just to be there so I don't have to worry about it. And maybe actually sleep a little. I don't know. We'll see. Get some McDonald's on the way. Back up there. Stay at Mom and Dad's. See if the headlights are still working in the truck. You guys probably saw my hand was absolutely torn up. It's better now than it was. It was way worse. The absolute audacity of General Motors to go out and force you to take half the front side apart on the right side, or on the left side rather, to change a headlight bulb. I'm convinced that trucks are designed by engineers that never had to change a light bulb. Mine is almost as bad, except for the previous owner did some rip and tear to give me access that otherwise wasn't there. Alright, let's call it. By the way, if you're watching on DLive, you're probably not watching on DLive because it hasn't had a decent stream in a couple days, but if you are a DLive person and you're wondering, or you're over on the YouTube side from usually being over on DLive, I don't know what happened. DLive didn't get the end stream signal last Thursday at all. And it's been stuck in a 20-second loop of outro music. And I don't know how to stop it. But anyway, we're going to head out of here for the day. Thank you everybody who came by and chatted in the live chat. Everybody who came and hung out, commented throughout now and the week before. We'll be back here tomorrow to talk about the news, the headlines. Probably get some updates on the Tennessee shooting, on whether or not this will be dropping out of the news. I know we're going to be talking more about Belarus because when I looked in and tried to get the map of Ukraine and Belarus, there were a lot of new articles up there that were not up there before. So we'll probably be talking about escalation there. More of the TikTok thing I anticipate coming off here. And hey, maybe we'll get that indictment of Trump coming this week. Who knows? It will all be up to what happens in the next few days, in the next few hours, and in the next 22 hours specifically. So come back in. Join us here tomorrow for more news, more headlines, and more contemporary. We will see you then. If you're on the Twitch side, stick around. We're going to go rating. Otherwise, we will see you then. And until then, I am Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Take care.